Welcome to Small Steps. My name's Seth Potts, and I want to show you how to build a temporal heat map using a pivot table. A temporal heat map is going to show you the time of day and day of week in a crosstab table. When it's counting from this raw data, it's going to count the times and dates that these happen, all these accidents happen here. But instead of just looking at numbers and trying to figure out where the highs and lows are, you're adding the conditional formatting that's going to have like hot times and cold times. So it gives you a more visual look at your data here, so you can typically spot something quicker or even send it on, and your end user will be able to look at it quickly as well. What I have here is I have about 10,000 lines worth of data with just some basic accident data from multiple agencies. I have a couple things. If it's a DUI, hit and run, the main thing we're looking for here is going to be this accident date. I have pulled out of that the day of week, and then the hour of day. You don't necessarily have to pull this out for that. It can actually, pivot tables will be able to recognize the hour coming out of this column here, and then the severity of it. Some additional information, but we can utilize and use all this in this heat map here. So first thing I'm going to do is insert a pivot table. I'm going to put an existing worksheet, and I'm going to just put it right over here next to all of our data for now. All right, so you see I have the different columns here. First thing I'm going to do is pull that accident date down. And you see it automatically populates whatever formatting it wants. It has the month here. I don't necessarily want the month. If you right click, you can go to this group. It'll pull up a list of your groupings. So I want the hours pulled out of it. I don't necessarily want the months. And I'll show you what the days do and why I had to pull out the day of week. So when I have the day listed, it's actually giving me the specific date. So 1st of January, 2nd of January. I don't necessarily want that. I just want the day of week. So let's move that over here. Actually, I will have those down there. So I'm going to get rid of the days that I pulled from the accident date field. But the hour pulls out of it, and it pulls in that format here of 0 all the way to 2300. Now, instead I pulled out the day a week separately, so we're going to add that as our columns. So now we have the days of the week at the top and the hours of the day in the column going down there. So we can just add anything down for the value. So it's a count of the accidents. So, this is a start. But looking at this, if you're trying to look through here and find the high times for anything, and you could do this with any data, if you're looking at specific crimes, maybe auto burglaries, auto thefts, when they're happening, if you're looking at a certain area that gets hit hard and you're kind of trying to figure out what the high times are day of week and time of day for purpose of deploying maybe patrol, have some extra area checks, things like that during those times. This is kind of hard to look at, but what we're going to do is turn this. I'm going to highlight just the numbers that we're looking for, the counts that are specific. We don't want the grand totals in there or any of the labels there. So we are going to do that. We're going to go up on the Home tab. There is the styles grouping here, conditional formatting, and when you kind of go down here, this color scales. There's a couple options. You can do custom ones if you like. The typical one I use is red. This red, yellow, green, where red is the hot spot and greens are the lower of the time. So we will do that. And you can always clean this up and shrink down the different columns, rename things, however you want to do that. But just a quick look. So now looking at this really quick, we can see overall these accidents are happening from that 3 to 6 range typically, and it looks like Monday through Friday. So the work week evening rush hour is the busiest time. Now, along with this, just wanted to show you can add certain categories up here to be filtered. So I'll add a couple: agency, DUI, hit and run, things like that. So a couple quick notes. I'm going to change it to a smaller agency that I know will not have a lot of those. So there, I have some spots where I did not have any accidents, and right now, if I don't change any of the options, they are blank. There's no value in there on the count, and it is not colored in at all. So that's not as nice to look at. So a couple things here. If you right click and go to the pivot table options, first thing here is for empty cells. I like empty cells to show 0. That way there is a number put in for them, and that will allow it to be color coded and everything like that. Now, if I had one of these that did not have anything all the way across on one of these hours, it will actually take that hour out and skip over it and shorten this list here. There is a place as well on the field settings, and if you go to the layout and print, you notice there is this box right here you can check, which is show items with no data. So if you have your data where there's some of those hour blocks are skipped over because there's no data in it, but you still wanted it to show up and have the zeros on there, come in here and check that box there. You'll see just with the way the information is, the data is adding these extra rows there. You can just go in and select that. Or unselect that rather, and you're back to your list. So now I can switch things in and out, and up and down. DUIs for the time, hit and runs for the time. Obviously with a smaller agency like that alone, it's not bad, but DUIs for everybody overall. And you can kind of flip through this and copy and paste and send this however. You can see the differences when you change over the different categories up there and filter through. So, DUIs are happening, looks like majority on the weekend nights, and kind of looks like after bar closing time. So this, like I say, temporal heat map is a very good way to show the hot spots for both the time of day and day of week. If you found this tutorial helpful and would like to see more, click like and subscribe. The next video coming up is going to be using the if function with and, or, and not functions.